So second matchup of the week is going to be Krusty Krushers versus my squad. We both have opted for the tank bot as our fifth member. So going to be a double tank composition coming out from Krusty Krushers, whereas I will be running a 1-3-1 composition. He's going to be running a 2-1-2. Only having that Sojourn as a DPS. So let me go check something real quickly before we start this one up. Make sure everything is in order with our teams. Yes, okay. Yep, everything is looking to be ready to go here, so let us start Krusty Krushers versus Blazing Magi. It's going to start on King's Row for map number 1. Our teams were on the struggle bus last season. Blazing Magi going to be on the offense first, as never back down in these interplay. Will always be on attack first. I've kind of standardized it, so at least from match to match, it does make sense why one team is attacking first. Since we don't have any choice in the matter, I might as well make it consistent. So it looks like my squad's going to be rolling out on the Zarya to start. Not an ideal tank to get. Junker Queen, quite good though, plus that Roadhog. It's going to be a dangerous duo. That's a lot of damage coming out. Good option for Krusty Krushers there. See how this works though. They do have the Mercy and Moira, so they're going to have a lot of healing on their side. Whereas my side is going to have way more damage getting pumped out from it. With the Zarya, Torb, Ashe, Cassidy, Kiri, all those things just do so much damage. So we're going to see if the sustain of Krusty Krushers can handle the damage of Blazing Magi here. There's going to be a lot of damage coming out from my team here. See how long this Mercy can last. Alright, here we go. Sojourn doing a very good job of cutting my team out here a little bit. Mercy's going to fall though first. Ashe with a great pick to start this. Ashe going to take out 2. Cassidy also putting in some solid work here, and my team is looking pretty strong already. Not dropping a single member against Krusty Krushers on that first push. So unfortunately this season I didn't quite get that Sojourn on my squad. I did kind of want her, but did get sniped the draft pick before I was probably going to pick her, so instead I went with a very solid support option. We ended up with Ashe Cassidy, so we have the Western Special on Blazing Magi. Zarya putting in some good work as my tank for this match, for the starting King's Row. Going to protect that Ashe. Huge Suzu comes through. Mercy's going to be the first one to fall again here. And looking like Blazing Magi are going to start turning this fight, it seems. Queen's going to be the first to fall. Roadhog getting very low here, and Blazing Magi just slowly pushing forward, and the sustain. They are surviving through everything at the moment. Blazing Magi just looking pretty strong right now. I'm pretty proud of my team, the way this is going so far. I knew that Cassidy was going to be an excellent pickup. Torbjorn has been quite the workhorse throughout the season. He is a defending champion. He's won both seasons of Overbots. So I really wanted that leadership role on my squad. Has been an absolute workhorse. So Zarya is going to fall here. However, Sojourn putting in some solid work here for Krusty Krushers. So good defense here for Krusty Krushers. Their Sojourn is getting to work now. That double support lineup. Plus the Hog. They have a whole lot of sustain on the side of Krusty Krushers here. So we're going to see another push coming through here fairly soon. One thing that I got to be a little bit concerned about as this is my team, Zarya, having her as a tank, while she is an excellent tank, she does halt those ultimates, so my team could struggle a little bit due to that. Mercy going to be the first one to fall again here, however, going to be able to take out that tank, as well as this Ashe. Going to look good for Krusty Krushers here. Trade will come out. However, with the 2 tanks alive on Krusty Krushers, I don't think the Torb and the Cassie are going to be able to quite get through this. Well, Cassidy able to remove the queen from play here. So maybe, just maybe, Torb getting very low. However, Kiri's here to save him. Going to be against this Roadhog, getting very low. Are they going to be able to take him out? Yes, they will. Okay, so Blazing Magi eventually going to push through that hog. Going to start pushing up now. Going to be able to kill that Moira. Mercy coming for the res. Gonna res the Roadhog, but everyone is still alive here for Blazing Magi, so this is going to be a very rough respawn for him. He will eventually just go down, so Blazing Magi gonna start pushing this payload pretty soon, I think. However, got to keep in mind that the Torbjorn ult and the Zarya ult are probably not going to be used, as they are anticipating the combo that will never come through, since Zarya just holds on to her ult. Very unfortunate. So we will not see the lava or the grab. However, we might see a massive rampage come through here. Let's see, can she make the touch? She does, and she gets a massive, massive hit. However, Bob in the backline going to be helping protect this Ashe a little bit. She is going to go down eventually. Bob putting in some solid work here, though. Not going to be able to finish off the members of Krusty Krushers, and they will start to hold here on the second point. Sojourn doing some classy work with that ultimate. Going to have a high noon almost online here for Blazing Magi. Of course, with that Zarya, though, they will be missing out on 2 ultimates. So Blazing Magi not going to be able to use that Torbolt. And it looks like I didn't realize this, but the Queen has been swapped to an Orisa on the side of Krusty Krushers. So that is a great boon for you. That is a huge tank. The dynamite is in here. It's not going to find anything, though. Looking so far so good for Krusty Krushers on the second point defense. Cassidy popping the ult. Going to be able to back off some members of Krusty Krushers. However, Kiri going to fall to the Sojourn. Zarya going to pick up that kill, though. So 3v2 on point. Roadhog getting very low. He's going to fall. Cassidy's getting very low, though. Zarya going to be able to push back this... get pushed back, excuse me. Only going to be Torb alive here for Blazing Magi. Can he get the job done? And he might just do it here. Ashe and Torb going to be able to push this thing in right before the Mercy gets back. So Blazing Magi barely getting through that second point. Whittling down that Orisa. The respawns seem to be fairly far away here for Blazing Magi. Some of the Zarya got split spawned. Rest of the team should be back here, though, so they do get the second checkpoint. It's been an excellent look, though, from Krusty Krushers so far. Seen some serious offense coming out of the way of Blazing Magi, too, so we will see here. Zarya is pushing forward. She's going to die. I don't know why she pushed in so aggressively there. It was a bit of an odd decision, as the rest of her team is rotating around now. And that's probably just going to be a Sojourn, though, getting a little bit caught off here. Does she go down? No, she will not. Cassidy on the flank there with his support. I'm not too sure what he's doing. Zarya going to bubble him, but he's going to fall so fast. And that is looking like another fight win here for Krusty Krushers. Not exactly ideal here for Blazing Magi, as they are kind of stuck in their spawn here against this fairly dominant Krusty Krushers team. They got the double tank plus 2 supports. Very strong composition. Hard to push through. Alright, looks like Blazing Magi are going to go to this high ground. Zarya going to get charged up quite a bit here. Ashe also going to receive some charge for her Zarya, but the Zarya is going to die. Sojourn just putting in so much work with this Mercy. And Mercy going to be able to pick up the res on that Soj. Have her continue wrecking havoc. And that is looking like a good teamfight victory here for Krusty Krushers. This Orisa has really been a lockdown decision for them ever since she got here. Looks like Blazing Magi are going to go around the long way here. Ashe able to pick up that Mercy. Huge Orisa ult coming through. Is going to find the Torb. Not going to find too much else. However, Roadhog has that ult. Gotta watch out for if you're Blazing Magi. Kiri's back into this one. They are going to be on the payload. It looks... maybe not, actually. Nope, so they will be on the payload here. Hog's going to fall. Zarya's putting in some work now. Orisa's going to go down, so we are going to see a little bit more progress coming out from Blazing Magi on this final point. It's just how much can we get with this Sojourn and Mercy coming back in. Mercy going for the res behind them. Going to find it. Bob is in a very awful spot. However, Torbjorn able to find the Soj and the Mercy. Only this Orisa is up, and Blazing Magi are slowly pushing through this. Can they pick off this tank before she gets her support back? They will. Just gotta make sure not to C9. The dynamite is in there, but I don't think it's gonna find too much damage. No, it does not find anyone. So Ashe probably gonna fall. She's a little bit ahead of her squad. I don't know what she's doing right over there. She is gonna be found by that Sojourn. The ult comes through. Torbjorn barely touching, but not quite enough. And I think we're just gonna C9 here. Some ultimates coming through from Krusty Krushers are gonna be enough to hold this one down. So a very good hold. Sojourn putting in some major work for her squad there. You can see the comparison between her and Cassidy there. They seem to have very similar numbers, so you do have to keep in mind though that Sojourn has been receiving a lot of damage boost, so I do think Cassidy might still be the better DPS overall. Torbjorn and Cass putting up some huge damage numbers on the offense, and of course they were shooting more into a tank. So that is also something to keep in mind for those inflated damage numbers in comparison to what the Sojourn was shooting at. Has been a good one from both sides so far, so it looks like they're going to stick to the Zarya on defense. Maybe a little bit of a questionable decision here. Orisa has been having her number throughout this matchup. See if Blazing Magi can hold on here. Do not want this squad to get past that second point. Alright, Blazing Magi have 4 minutes on the clock to defend this thing. Krusty Krushers are going to have lots of time here to win a fight. See if they can manage on this first push like Blazing Magi did. Gonna go around the side, going to hook that Ashe, so a great start here for this Hog. Is gonna force out that bubble. Cassie gonna find one, but Kiri already down. Looking great here for the side of Krusty Krusher so far. However, a couple picks going the way. Blazing Magi aren't gonna change too much. So a very solid push here from Krusty Krushers. Looking like the respawns are finally going to come in here for Blazing Magi, but Ashe getting a little bit overzealous here. She will back off, though. Good sign for Blazing Magi. Ashe having far and away the least amount of damage for a DPS in this game. Torb and Soj and Cass are outpacing her in damage. Cassidy gonna get very low though. Does get picked off by that Roadhog. Roadhog also gonna find the Kiri. A very good fight coming in through here from the Krusty Krushers. They are going to be able to continue pushing this payload. Looking great here for Krusty Krusher so far. Torbjorn going to probably just die here. He's going in. A little bit aggressive there from the Torb. Maybe we'll see this team regroup, get together. So far a monster time bank for Krusty Krushers. It's looking like they are going to be able to take this map 1. Unless Blazing Magi puts together some sort of miraculous hold here on second. Gonna take a little bit of effort to get that done though. Here comes Zarya. She's going very deep. I don't know about this. It's a little bit of an aggressive decision here. Gonna gain a lot of charge off this this Soj. Kiri going to be felled by the Soj though. Torbjorn able to find one, but he is fighting against a full squad. That will probably be it. The second point is going to go very handily in favor of Krusty Krushers. They're going to continue pushing this thing. So, looking like Blazing Magi are just going to get ran over a little bit here on this first map. Comes the Roadhog ult. However, the Cassidy ult is actually pushing out the members of Krusty Krushers. So, a nice zoning ult there from the Cass. Zarya getting very low. However, Ashe able to take out both supports there is going to be a helpful boon here. Ashe also going to take out the Orisa. Ashe getting a lot of final blows in there. Getting hooked is the Torbjorn, but he's one of the few members that doesn't really care about that. The Flashbang Fan the Hammer going to come out. Hog just surviving, doing his best over here. And he will survive long enough that some picks are going to be found on his team's re-engage here. So very good work by that Roadhog, keeping his team in it. And it looks like Krusty Krushers are going to take map 1 in this series. This hybrid map going very much in favor of Krusty Krushers there. Once they got that Orisa pick, it was all them. That Queen at the beginning kind of got ran over. However, Krusty Krushers get the lucky swap to the Orisa. And my Zarya just stays on Zarya the entire game. Bit unfortunate there for Blazing Magi. But it is what it is sometimes. Get stuck on that Zarya pick. And it prevents you from using some ults. So not an ideal tank at all to pick off. Alright, so our next map is going to be Colosseo. Krusty Krusher is currently leading the series 1-0. We will have to see what the tanks are going to select this time around. Orisa Hog was some menacing stuff to look at in that first match. But now we are on Colosseo. And new map. Most likely new tank bots. We'll have to see though. So we are going to end up with a Doomfist on both sides here. Bit of an odd mix-up coming out from both tanks. Not exactly what I expected to see here on Colosseo. This bot does not have a great history. We're going to have to see how much he impacts the game. Pretty much a non-factor since both teams are stuck with the Doom. See which one can perform better for their squad here. Soldier coming out with that Mercy Pocket as per normal. Triple DPS of Blazing Magi. We know they can be so strong. They just have to get going. Roadhog also a different beast to deal with, as well as the Soj. Two very strong heroes on the side of Krusty Krushers. Looks like here the tanks and the Torb are going to go down for Krusty Krushers, or Blazing Magi immediately, I mean. And that is a very strong push coming out from Krusty Krushers to start us off here. They are looking firmly in control of this series so far. A little bit of a weird push coming out from the Doom and the Torb. I don't know why they just kind of push straight in there, but sometimes people make mistakes. See, we are going to see the same mistake from this Doom again. He goes right into the full grasp of the enemy team. Kiri going to try to help Mercy getting pretty low here. However, Doom going to be the first to fall. Moira going to go down. Some picks coming in from this Sojourn, absolutely popping off against my team here. I really want to see our tank swap, but it's looking like he's going to stay firmly on this Doom. Not exactly what you want to see to match up against this Krusty Krusher squad. Doom just not an ideal candidate. Works a little bit better when you already have that tank in the Roadhog, but Doom kind of a terrible tank to roll into. So far, not liking the tanks I've seen on my side for Blazing Magi. I almost rather would have a Sigma than a Zarya or a Doom. The Sigma at least has that shield to distract Mercy gonna fall here, so Doom gonna be traded for Mercy. Not exactly a great trade. And that will be it. Krusty Krushers just continue to push this payload. Sojourn looking nigh unstoppable here. Funny thing is, when my team was stuck with Mercy, we were quite garbage in Season 2. This team with the Roadhog over the Mauga is seeming to have different take on this. We are going to see a swap of tanks. Thankfully, I like this tank pick a lot more for Blazing Magi. Rein is going to be able to defend my DPS a little bit more than that Doomfist was able to do. Mercy going to try to grab this red. She is going to get it, actually. Rein going to pin in a little bit aggressive. However, I believe eventually Blazing Magi are going to win this fight. Although, wait, nope. Roadhog absolutely popping off with 4 Ks. What the heck was that? Roadhog just being an absolute menace to deal with right now. Is one of the best heroes we have in this game. We know that he was in the first 2 championships, just not quite able to get over the humps of those championships games, but my oh my. Okay, so Rein looking quite a bit better here for Blazing Magi than that Doomfist pick. Hog still behind here, fighting this Kiri. I don't know. How are they not noticing this guy? Okay, so Kiri will eventually find her way to the team, but Roadhog just so far behind. Don't know if this is going to be a boon or a bust for Krusty Krushers. Alright, here we go. So they're going to engage on these defenseless... Oh my gosh, Moira! That is a very unfortunate pull coming out of the Queen. It's going to result in a pretty quick team fight victory here for Blazing Magi, so they're going to be able to continue pushing this thing. Moira's coming back. She's going to die, though. An excellent swap to this Rein. I'm liking what I'm seeing so much better from this squad as they swap to this Rein. Giving themselves a chance in this map. Ash going to have the bop. It's going to be very impactful depending on if she can use that in a good spot or not. Roadhog going to get pinned immediately. Does he go down here? No, he's not going to go down. So here comes the Bob. Bob's kind of in a good spot. The Rancor, oh, Ash popping off, getting a few kills here. Torb going to find one. Some trades continuing to go off here, but it looks like Blazing Magi are going to win this one. Just this Queen left on point. Torb going to be killing her. So, looks like Blazing Magi are probably going to reach the second checkpoint. Respawn's not quite in tow here for Krusty Krushers. So, Blazing Magi making a little bit of a comeback with this Reinhardt. Doomfist, just not a great decision. And Rein looking like a much better choice here. Here comes the pin. It is going to find that Roadhog. Kiri going to back off to her team, going to Suzu them. A little bit of a waste from the Suzu. Mercy and Kiri going to be traded out for each other. Rein going on a long pin for that Moira. Going to find the kill. But the 2 tanks of Krusty Krushers remain here, so they are going to find a fight win. Rein looks like he's probably just going to die here. He does stall this payload out a little bit, so he will at the very least spawn with his team. And we're going to have to see a couple more fight wins from Blazing Magi if they want to get back into this Colosseo. The Rein pick has been massive for them so far, though, so I can't imagine them swapping off of this. If they do, it would be quite a throw. Alright, here comes the Rein. Massive ultimate from this Queen is probably going to result in a quick teamfight victory for them. Plus the Soja ult. Mercy going to be able to pick up the res too. A huge Queen ultimate opening up that fight. Makes it very easy to capitalize on. The rest of the members of Krusty Krushers, they are looking to push this thing all the way in here. They come around the corner. Let's see, Rein going to be able to grab a contest here. Comes the pin. He's going to pin straight into the payload. Let's see if the shatter comes out here. Rein getting very low. Torb able to take out the Mercy, though. No Shatter coming out from Blazing Magi, so a bit of an odd decision there as the Coalescence comes through, and it's looking like Krusty Krushers are going to go up 2-0 in this series. They have been looking very strong thus far. Of course, have to wonder if Blazing Magi had that Rhine to begin with, this would have gone a bit differently. Instead of opting for the Doomfist, kind of a bad tank with what is behind him. But an excellent first 2 maps coming out of Krusty Krushers here. Mercy absolutely pocketing the crap out of the Soj. Not exactly what we were expecting going into this one. We'll see what Circuit Royale looks like. Currently, Krusty Krushers leading the series 2-0. Blazing Magi haven't put up much of a fight here. These two teams did just swap divisions, so now Blazing Magi are representing the Never Back Down division, whereas Krusty Krushers will be representing the Get Good division. See if that has any impact on their play. We're going to have to see. So crucial starting picks here. Doom again. So this is just looking worse and worse for Blazing Magi as they start on this Doom. Doom has just not been the pick to go to here, and getting a Rhine on the other side is going to be brutal. I think this is just going to get even more dominant here, as Krusty Krushers definitely got the better tank pick of the two. Doom is just terrible with the roster I'm fielding. I don't know why the tank bot keeps choosing Doom. Not exactly the greatest decision at all. So, see if we can deal with that, though. Only got one more opportunity to stay alive in this series, and I don't think you're going to get it done on Doom. Remains to be seen, though. Kiri going to get in here, probably going to get herself killed. She does go in very deep. So, it does look like, in fact, Krusty Krushers are going to be pretty dominant here. I'm just hoping that this tank will swap, but it's staying on Doom. So looking like my tank bot is kind of just throwing this matchup for us. Not going to lie. Other teams have been a lot more lucky with their bots than mine, I feel like. Okay, Torb able to find that Sojourn, so a pick coming through. Not all is lost here. But having both the tanks still up and the supports on their way back is a miserable sight, especially with the stupid Doom on my team. I'm sorry, I'm so angry that we got Doom of all things. And it looks like Roadhog is going to be able to... Roadhog and this Rhino are going to be able to shut down this squad. Blazing Magi just getting fully stifled in their spawn because Doom refuses to swap off this miserable pick. Roadhog gonna be melted here. Mercy's gonna look for the res, gonna find it, so have that health pool right back in. And Doomfist is still on the table. I just wish he would die and respawn as something else. It's like when your ranked teammate decides that they want to run something that doesn't complement the rest of the team and just refuses to swap. Going to continue on this Doom. Probably just going to result in a very quick 3-0 for Krusty Krushers here. Don't see much hope at all when you have a Doom on your team for that tank position. Kiri going to get hooked in and killed. Would have been nice to have a shield in front of her there, but nope. Ash able to find one. Not going to be enough, though, because Mercy still has that res. And Krusty Krusher is getting blessed with a Reinhardt, while Blazing Magi are going to be cursed with this Doom for 2 maps in a row. Of course, both teams did have a Doom in the last matchup, but without a solid tank in front of Blazing Magi, it is very tough to deal with a roster with 2 tanks. Going to find Soja and Mercy with the Cass ultimate, so they won't be able to res this. However, both tanks on Krusty Krushers are still alive. Kiri is stuck behind this point, and we still have Doom. So, more than likely, this will be a 0-meter push coming out from Blazing Magi as they swap onto the most miserable pick they possibly could have for this matchup and just refuse to get off of it with this Doom. So all the ults are going to be popped from this Blazing Magi squad. They might eventually just push through here. Roadhog probably going to fall, so we will see some cart progress, but unfortunately for Blazing Magi, they are still on this Doom pick, which is such a bad hero to have in front of a Cassidy Ashe Torb. However, they are going to start pushing this thing. That Reinhardt Shatter going to come in huge here, probably just going to wipe off Blazing Magi as they try to start this push. Here comes the Rein. He's got the Shatter. All he's got to do is slam it down on them, and he will probably claim victory. Here comes the Kiri ult. Rein getting very low, though, so actually Rein going to throw a little bit of here. Roadhog going to go down, too, so Blazing Magi making something happen, at the very least. Are they going to be able to stay on this payload? Sojourn does find that Ashe. Going to fall herself, though. Torb and Kiri on this payload, probably going to push it in before anyone else can touch, so Blazing Magi, despite having this Doomfist... Oh, never mind, they're getting off the payload, and that will just be it. So Blazing Magi, instead of pushing it in, they are instead just going to leave the payload behind and not get the checkpoint. It's just looking like Blazing Magi are kind of throwing this one with that tank selection. I'm not too sure why it won't just swap off Doomfist, as for whatever reason, it is not exactly the greatest pick with the composition being run, but it seems to be making a lot smarter decisions for Krusty Krushers when it comes to that tank role. Being stuck with Doomfist into double tank is not ideal. We want that tank to be a Rein. We want that tank to be a Sigma. We want that rank to give us that tank to give us some sort of bulk. But once again, it is coming out on the Doomfist on defense. So this is just looking like it's going to be a very clean 3-0 for Krusty Krushers, as the tank pick for Blazing Magi has just been awful throughout this entire series. First with that Zarya to stifle the ultimate, and then with the Doomfist on Coliseo. Also just struggling. Swaps to the Rein at the end, but just not enough to give this team any semblance of an edge in the matchup. And then on this last match, just fully sticking into the Doom versus Roadhog and Reinhardt. Just absolutely terrible decision-making by the Blazing Magi tank will result in them getting 3-0'd here. I think they had a much better chance if they just got a solid tank on their side. Or even a bad tank that was like Sigma or Winston. I think those options would be better than Doomfist or Zarya, frankly. I think both of those options at least have some merit. They do have a shield to put down for this team to let them do their damage. Mercy going to be able to fall here, though. So some support trades are going through. Going to favor Krusty Krushers, though, since they do have that spawn advantage. Sojourn just proven why she is such a good hero. I loved having her on my team. Fortunately, this season I was not able to snag her. And it's just looking like that is going to be it. A 3-0 from stupid tank play by Blazing Magi. Don't know why they decided to just stick to this Doomfist the entire series. But I wish I could talk to my tank and say, hey, don't play Doomfist anymore. It's miserable watching you. But it is stuck on there. So just never going to swap off Doom. Blazing Magi are going to go in for one more contest here. But their backs are against the wall here. This Rein pick has been excellent for Krusty Krushers. They are going to get stifled a little bit here, though. Ashe and Cassidy putting in some work. They are eventually probably going to fall to this Sojourn and Roadhog, though. Just much more powerful with that Roadhog are the Krusty Krushers once the fight devolves like that. And that is just going to be it. A 3-0 handed very strongly to the side of Krusty Krushers. Despite having probably two of the worst heroes in Overbots, they do have a very powerful double tank lineup with that Rein Roadhog working out for them on this Circuit Royale. For some reason, Blazing Magi just sticking to the Doom. Not a great decision. Going to result in them easily being 3-0'd here. They had a very good chance on King's Road. They just didn't make some fights happen. On the side of Colosseo, that one was very winnable if they had just came out on the Rhine instead of starting with that Doomfist. And then Circuit Royale just never swapping off the Doom, even though you are getting completely blown out, was an awful decision by Blazing Magi. And that will be the 3-0. So Blazing Magi not going to find their first win in their first series, and I'm already kind of mauling at my squad. But that is it for that first match, or second match of the week, and we will head on to the next game that has active rosters. Some of the rosters still have not picked their bots, which has been mildly frustrating for me, but we'll see.